Hello dear fans of Days of Our Lives. Welcome back to the channel, where we not only watch movies, but also live, breathe, and sometimes go absolutely crazy with the chaotic residents of Salem. A shocking discovery in the depths of the Demera crypt. Let's get right into the meat of the matter without beating around the bush. We are looking at a potential plot twist that could rewrite history. Here is the headline: a mysterious skeleton has been discovered buried under the floor of the Demera tunnels. And the aftermath. It's explosive. We have Rafe Hernandez delivering the identification news, and we have Kristen demorally the woman made of steel and ice breaking down in gut-wrenching sobs. But who is it? Whose bones could possibly elicit that kind of reaction from Kristen? Hold on to your hats, because we are diving deep into this mystery. The tunnels, a hiding place for dark secrets. Let's set the scene, shall we? We know that our current storyline involves the group trapped in the catacombs. Now, knowing the psychology of characters in high-stress situations, I strongly suspect, and I think many of you will agree with me, that the excavation group is not just going to sit around twiddling their thumbs waiting for a hero to save them. That isn't how folks in Salem operate. Desperation breeds action. They are going to keep digging. They are going to try to claw their way out. And this is where the narrative takes a dark turn. It seems highly probable that in their attempt to find an exit or expand their space, they are going to unearth something that was never meant to be found. We aren't talking about a dusty old relic or a time capsule. We are talking about human remains. Here is the kicker: these bones are not in a marked grave. If you look at the architecture of the Demera crypts, everything is usually pompous and labeled. You see the name Demera plastered on every plaque, every urn, every stone. It's a family obsessed with legacy. So, finding a set of bones hidden under the floor, tucked away like a dirty secret, screams murder cover-up. It suggests a victim that someone wanted to erase from history entirely. Imagine the scene: Theo Carver, a young man who has seen too much tragedy already, looks down at the dirt and debris and has to utter those chilling words: "These are human bones." But whose? That is the multi-million-dollar question. Rafe Hernandez and the FBI bombshell. Fast forward to the winter promo we've all been analyzing frame by frame. We see Rafe Hernandez doing what Rafe does best: looking serious, wearing his badge, and delivering bad news. The spoilers indicate that Rafe takes these mysterious skeletal remains to the FBI lab. Now, we have to suspend our disbelief a little bit. Usually, DNA results take weeks. But in Salem, the FBI lab apparently runs on magic and espresso, so they get a match quickly. Rafe returns to the Demera mansion to break the news to the family. In the room, we have EJ and Kristen. Now, watch the dynamics here. EJ is usually the stoic, arrogant brother who processes information like a computer. But Kristen, the clip shows her absolutely losing it. She is sobbing, wailing about how there is too much death surrounding the Demera family. This reaction is crucial. It's our biggest clue. Kristen Demera does not cry for just anyone. She doesn't cry for strangers. She barely cries for her enemies unless it's a manipulation tactic. This raw, visceral emotion suggests the bones belong to someone she loved deeply. Someone she thought was gone, perhaps, but not like this. Not treated like garbage buried under a floor. Theory 1. The editing room trap. However, before we jump to conclusions, I have to play devil's advocate. I've been watching soap operas long enough to know that we cannot trust a trailer 100%. Is Kristen's crying scene actually connected to Rafe's news? Think about it. The editors of Days of Our Lives are masters of misdirection. They love to splice audio from one scene onto the video of another to make us think a cause B, when really, they are totally unrelated. There is a very strong possibility that Rafe delivers the news about the skeleton in one scene, and Kristen is crying about something entirely different in another scene. Maybe she's crying about Brady. Maybe she's crying about her daughter, Rachel. Maybe she's having a breakdown about her own life choices. If this is a Frankenbite, a stitched-together clip, the writers are trying to manipulate us into thinking the skeleton is a VIP, very important person to Kristen. But, if I'm being honest, my gut tells me the tears are genuine, and they are related to the bones. The narrative impact is just too strong to waste on a fake-out. If Kristen is crying that hard in the context of a dead body, it has to be family. Theory 2. The Peter Blake connection. Now, let's look at the Peter angle. We've had leaks suggesting that Peter Blake, Kristen's brother and another one of Stefano's acolytes, is the mastermind behind the recent kidnappings. So, the natural question arises, did Peter plant those bones there? If Peter is the one pulling the strings, playing games with the people trapped in the tunnels, could he have planted a fake skeleton? Or maybe the bones of a random enemy just to terrorize the captives? It would be a classic DiMera psychological warfare tactic. Look at these bones. This is what happens when you cross us. However, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think the bones and Peter are directly related in that way. Why? Because Peter is a villain, yes, but planting old bones feels a bit too theatrical and vague for his current agenda. The kidnapping plot feels like a power move, a leverage play. The bones feel like a historical secret being unearthed by accident. I believe the discovery of the skeleton is a monkey wrench in the plan, something that wasn't supposed to happen. It complicates the kidnapping rather than facilitating it. The Phoenix theory, is it Stefano DiMera? Now we arrive at the theory that gave me goosebumps. The theory that makes the most sense, historically and emotionally. Are those the bones of Stefano DiMera? Let's look at the evidence. The great Joseph Mascolo, who played Stefano, passed away years ago, and the character passed away on screen. But here is the thing about Stefano DiMera, we never really got a body. In the world of days, if there is no body, there is no death. And even when there is a body, death is often just a nap. But specifically with Stefano, his physical remains have always been a point of contention. He died in that chair, but then there were transfers of essence, microchips, and the whole Steve Johnson is Stefano debacle. Where is the actual, physical corpse of the original Stefano? I have a sneaking suspicion that no one actually knows until now. Why would Stefano be buried under the floor? This is where the psychology of Dr. Wilhelm Rolf comes into play. We know Rolf worshipped Stefano. He viewed him not just as a boss, but as a god. Imagine this scenario, decades ago, or perhaps right after Stefano's last death. Dr. Rolf took the body. He didn't want to bury Stefano in a marked grave because that would be admitting that the Phoenix was truly gone. Instead, Rolf might have harvested the DNA, which we know he did for the Stefano project, and then hid the physical bones in the structure of the mansion itself under the floor of the crypt. Why? To keep him close. To protect the body from enemies who might want to desecrate it. Or perhaps, in a twisted way, to ensure that the legend of the Phoenix remained mysterious. If there is no grave, the world can never be sure he is dead. Why this breaks Kristen? If Rafe confirms that the pile of bones discarded, hidden, covered in dirt is actually her beloved father, Stefano, it explains her complete breakdown. Kristen loved her father fiercely. She fought for his approval her entire life. To find out that, instead of resting in peace in a golden casket befitting a king, her father has been rotting like a common murder victim under the floorboards. That would shatter her. It would be viewed as the ultimate disrespect. It would make her feel like she failed him. Furthermore, think about the impact on the other brothers. Tony, EJ, Chad. They all have complicated relationships with their father, but they all respected his power. Knowing that the great Stefano DiMera was reduced to a hidden pile of bones is a humiliation for the family name. It strips away the mystique and leaves only the grim reality of death. My verdict. I truly believe this is where the writers are going. It ties together the history of Dr. Rolf's madness, the legacy of the Phoenix, and the current emotional state of the DiMera children. It is the perfect storm of nostalgia and horror. If those bones are Stefano, it means the Phoenix didn't rise, he was just hidden. And that is a tragedy that would make even the coldest DiMera weep. What do you think, fans? Is it Stefano? Is it a victim of Stefano? Or are the writers playing us with a clever editing trick? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Read every single one of them. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Salem madness. Until next time.